You running the equipment back there tonight?
Welcome everybody to the October 10th Fisp meeting. Everyone's present except Ray Bacalt and Raj. Is that correct? Yeah. Approval of minutes, September 18, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Senior Center, Tony, you're up.
Okay, Senior Center is moving along. You all have a report, looks something like this, extras here if you don't have one. We are largely on track for end of January, mid-February substantial completion. Lisa and I, over the past couple weeks, have met with 3 different furniture vendors. I don't know that Lisa's coming tonight, so I'll touch a little on that. Generally, construction is moving along on the site work. We've been grading and getting ready for paving to start next week. They should put binder down next week through the parking lots, the loop, and the driveway. Planning board is being notified and copied on the report that you have in front of you, and I've confirmed that with planning board this week. Siding is wrapping the building. Our inspections have signed off on rough electric, rough plumbing, rough mechanical, and wall framing. So they're completing the insulation. They'll probably have all of the exterior walls fully insulated by the end of this week. Final inspection, and then they'll be able to really put the wall board up in all the rooms after that. Once that happens, it finishes out really quickly with finishes, obviously. Budget-wise, we are on budget. We've got another change order to look at tonight in your packets. But I've done the budget report in my monthly reports, the page that's got the ABCDs all across the top of it. This was all happening very quickly today because some of these items were still in negotiation. So my number doesn't tie out exactly. The bottom number, if you look all the way down to the bottom of the sheet, where it says item 6, contingency. Contingency A is construction and owner project contingency. And then you have that line item that says additional need. So if we ever run into a problem where we need money, that's where that number will show. That additional need right now is in the positive of $167,000. So you can always look there and see all the pluses and minuses from furniture and geotech and LSPs, construction, everything else that goes on. That is your balance as we sit.
That assumes we approve the change order.
That assumes this change order. There's still some items pending. They're in the planned and not committed. So they are categorized in there, in the contingency. So you've got $167,000, and we've probably got $20,000 to $30,000, let's see, in our pending contingencies. Our pending right now is $27,815.
That would go against the one,
That would go against the 163.
167?
Yes.
So what's the 199 total? Oh, construction and additional needs, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So we're going under the contingency for the additional needs?
Right.
Not construction?
I'm just giving you additional need, not using what's in construction. That'll be offset by the $27,850 that's pending. So there's a couple of grand more, but not 30.
So this 167 is after everything?
Including the stuff that's pending that we don't even
That's what
have
I
in
mean.
front of us.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Marginal,
Right.
couple of grand
Yeah.
here or there.
Okay.
So but the total contingency is still the 199? Because there's a construction of 31,000?
Right, but there's 27,815 right here
Yeah.
that is sitting in a pending. We know these are change orders
Pending
that are coming.
construction change orders.
But, so they're not taken out of the 199. So Tony just netted those against the 31. So that 31 is essentially gone with the pending. Following?
So to your point, yes, you can use the 199, but I need 28 of it, so
So
you're,
199 minus 28, that's what we
yeah,
want.
you're right back to 167-ish.
So one's almost 170.
And that does not include porch furniture or pool tables.
We've got $136,000 for all the furniture, the pool tables, all the
In a
furniture.
budget, not up to
In the
speed.
budget, not coming out of that.
Right, because you said furniture when you said that, but that's only additional furniture on and above the 130 something.
I was talking about porch furniture, I was not talking about the regular furniture itself.
Well, you gotta see what the
I
rec,
thought that was an extra item.
Well, hopefully it goes.
Hopefully
under-
she can fit it all in the budget, or the furniture people can fit it all in their 136.
I know, his name escapes me, the landlord.
Steve,
Yes, Steve was planning on making a donation, and he was planning on doing it to the senior center. Have we captured that amount? Was it 15?
I'd have to double check.
Is that amount captured in here? Okay, so
Not
that,
that I know of.
Donation into this.
no, but I'm saying porch furniture or something. He plans on doing something at the senior center that could,
So that could be the porch furniture.
I thought it was
We'd have to do that.
30,000, there was 15 this year, and then
15.
15 over the next,
When it was completed.
something like that, yeah.
so, but
You're right,
that's money that we have for this
Yeah.
project that's not budgeted.
right, exactly.
Yeah, my numbers are from town meeting.
So that would be on and above.
Right.
Right, but.
Right, that's what.
But
that's trying to
but it is, right, we have an additional
Right.
sum of money for this building that's not budgeted.
Right.
I guess we'll have to look at, maybe, Anita, if you could reach out to him and
I'll
see.
pull the agreement and see what, because we spelled that out pretty
Yeah.
clearly in the agreement.
So in the next couple of weeks, binder pavement will be down, then they'll start all the curbing, reset all the grates for finished paving. End of the month, hopefully all of the paving will be done. All of our utilities are on the site now, they're not connected to the building, but they're out of Prescott Street and through the ball field and up to, 10, 15 feet from the building. Fire protection stops further away from that at the fire pump house. The other lines are brought up to the building, just not connected yet.
And we're through the ledge, we should be through
That was my
all
question.
ledge.
Should be all dug and done. I know one of the items that's on your criteria is the final amount relative to the previous demolition contractor. We just paid the final Terracon bill, which had a lot to do with the removal of the dirt that was there. We took the lightly contaminated dirt, odorous dirt, if you will, since it's not hazardous. We buried that on site. We didn't hit any more building debris in any of that excavation. We did hit more ledge when we were building the drainage berms. I need the final invoice from the LSP, who needs to file the closure documents with DEP that state we did bury X amount of volume of soil in the center of the parking lot. The site engineer mapped out exactly where that goes. It's got caution tape under it, so that if anybody cuts through the parking lot, starts to dig a hole, they're gonna hit caution tape, then a plastic barrier, and know that they probably shouldn't be digging there. I don't see not having that number done for you before the end of the month. So those final bills come in, we'll wrap everything up and have it in a nice package for lawyers to do whatever they do with it.
So it wouldn't be available for our next meeting next week, next Wednesday. Because don't we have on the agenda, didn't we put on the agenda for the next meeting? to discuss this? I don't recall.
Let me call Tom tomorrow and see if I can get his final.
Okay. Because I thought we put it on, I don't know, I remember,
Yep.
if maybe we put it to the November.
We left it to try to get the report from Tony. We were hoping it would be this week. It was all pending on receipt of Tony's information. I did talk to the attorney, so he knows that that will be coming soon.
But at the same time, I'd like to have it for this meeting, but I'd like to have it completely thoroughly done, all i's dotted and t's crossed. Don't say, here it is,
Yep.
just because you have a deadline.
Okay. Yep.
And this will include all costs associated with this, testing costs, movement costs, burying costs, any cost associated.
Your cost.
Your cost, yeah, absolutely.
That's why, the only piece that I'm missing right now is whatever last filings the LSP needs to do with DEP. He had notified them, they're the ones that said we could bury it on site. He needs to file those final documents back saying, here's the 28 yards, here's where we buried it, here's the engineer's drawing, which we have of where it got buried.
So, yeah, so that's the only thing left.
That's the only thing left. All the
Everything
other
else
work
that
is
you
done.
just said is all in there. So, yeah, hopefully you can get that done
Right.
before. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and I'll call him and just say, I don't know when he's gonna file that,
But he can-
figure out what the hours are and get the bill in
Yeah,
here.
that seems good.
And that way there is, you know, it's not just a, here it is, but I'm missing one other item or whatever.
Yeah, no, if you don't have it, we'll put it up. for the next meeting.
Few photographs in here for you, meeting minutes for those who know and attend the meetings. Schedule has been updated with percent complete for all items and a couple of field reports. Generally, the project's moving well. Our site contractor continues to be an issue, but we're all managing along to get through it.
What's the issue?
He's just very difficult to work with. Likes not telling you what he's gonna do. Likes to try to cut corners wherever he can. Causes everybody a lot of anxiety when you gotta babysit at that level. Which is why I had been recommending not change ordering any work in the ball field. You do not want this guy working here again.
That's not a great concern.
Okay. Biggest thing that's really gonna happen this month, you'll see the outside of the building all sided. Gutters will be all wrapped around, tied into the drainage. And there should be a large fire pump house, early November, sitting outside the building.
Did you guys go to Sutton and look at it?
No, no need to.
Okay.
I guess, he was there saying they did one.
Okay.
It's like 15 years old, it's not the same
No.
manufacturer.
Okay.
It's not the same pump house, it's just a pump house.
Okay. Yeah.
So, we did have a meeting on site this week with the fire pump people, Cogswell Sprinklers. We've talked to the manufacturer, everybody verified the foundation size, the pipe locations, so we know what's coming, we know exactly how it's supposed to fit, fingers crossed that it does, because evidently this thing literally comes off a trailer with a crane, bolts down, connects, and you have an instantaneous pump house.
Tom will be happy.
Crazy. John McMillan is not here, but you do have an application for payment from RAC Builders, and you have change order number 4 for work that has been either approved by the smaller subcommittee or in front of this committee for a full vote. That's what I got.
All right, thank you. Furniture proposal, is this the,
What package is that in?
That's in your minutes.
I need the minutes, Chris, like the second, or fourth, or fifth page.
It's from workplace.
They want to, Tony, tell me if I'm wrong, they basically wanted somebody to sit there and tell you where you should put your furniture. It's kind of like the best useful where you should buy and where you should put it.
Yeah, what I understand, I sat with this gentleman and Lisa the other day, and for all intensive purposes, he is a project manager of furniture. So he'll sit with Lisa and the furniture plan and understand, this is a desk, that's a credenza, here's what these things are. Then he'll work with the architect to say, okay, gray fabric, blue fabric, you like this print, and he actually says that he has a complete understanding of all of the furniture that is available under state contract. So he'll go and quell through all the state contracts to say, oh, you want a chair, it's got glides, it's plastic, it's stackable, you know, and he'll find 4 or 5 of these type chairs to then sit with Lisa and the Council on Aging and the architect and say, okay, these are the 4 chairs that I recommend, here's what their price is, here's what their color availability is, all of that.
Didn't didn't someone come and talk to us about this?
This is different. This guy's just came up in the last few weeks, hasn't he?
He worked in Lincoln, and he's done Wellesley Senior Center,
What's this guy's, is this the guy that I?
Doug,
Doug Crosby,
I don't think-
The name of somebody way back when.
That was a lot.
separate person.
That was a different guy.
Yeah, so, and I thought we were saying we weren't gonna go this route.
We did. I don't know who brought, I don't know.
Oh, okay, I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, this is, somebody asked us to look at this, right?
What everybody looked at.
Mhm.
Why would we pay somebody, how much are we talking?
It's not free.
It's
Well,
$8,330, but the line item I'm looking at is, and this is gonna be my question, using this approach, we leverage your buying opportunity to save in excess of 10% of the product cost. If this guy truly knows what's out there, and we have $120,000 worth of furniture, and we're gonna pay this guy $8,300, but he's gonna save us 12 grand off the bottom line on the furniture, and we're gonna get the right furniture for the room, it's worth it. My question is, what's your experience with people like this?
I have a large experience and very positive experience with them, with vendors like this, more from the commercial side, where they're working with commercial furniture vendors, Peabody Office, Office Resources, Steelcase, and they're doing large volumes of office space. You know,
And
fitting out biomed,
negotiating a price.
and able to negotiate
And
prices.
they're buying up the state bid list.
I don't know, right, if any one of us, anybody wanted to sit with the state contract list, you might not be able to do it as quickly as he can do it if he knows all the state contracts, but it's state contract. There's very little leverage. So when he says he will be able to save you, he may know who's got the cheapest stackable chair because he just bought them in Wellesley, right? And so he's gonna go to
You can't
that.
negotiate with these guys, even though they're under state contract, can you negotiate?
You'd
State
have,
contract is
you'd
giving
have
you a
to,
price.
you'd have to then go to each vendor with a proposal request. You can bid vendors off a state contract, but generally they cannot give you a lower price. There's been cases brought where they offer a lower price for this plastic stack chair, and the state says, we bought 700 of those from you last year, why didn't we get the lower price? Guess what?
You didn't ask.
You owe us $10 on 700 chairs. Yeah, no, it does not. They're not supposed to go lower than their
Well, I recall
contract.
when I brought this forward months ago, you said something about you have some of this money in your, to do project managing for this part of it. And if we were to go with another company, there would be some money that you would not be involved at all with furniture, and you'd say, I'm not involved, if there's an issue, you go to that other project manager.
And that's what he does. He
Right.
punch lists it, comes here for deliveries.
Yeah.
So in my scope, just like we did with the PD, I'll call 3 vendors on state contract, right? National Business, WB. Here's the plan. Bring me the furniture list.
Right.
I take that list, sat with Chief and Jay at the time, and John McMillan, and said, what do you guys want? What color do you want it in? And we went with one vendor, the whole package.
But, so
Right.
is there, if,
What this gentleman is saying is, that's fine. How I intend to save you money is, I'll buy the chairs from whoever's got the cheapest chairs. I'll buy tables from whoever's got the cheapest tables, and I'll manage the whole thing and put it all together for you, saving you money.
so what comes off of your contract for this, because you're not gonna do it now? You're not gonna.
Nothing, I still gotta manage this guy,
Why? He's the project manager for furniture, you told us.
right?
This was way back when we talked about it, you said there would be, I'm not gonna do anything, he's gonna open bids, he's gonna make the phone calls, he's gonna get the furniture, he's gonna make sure it
Yep.
here's that day.
So he, in fact, becomes the Joe Kerrigan of the PD, where I just had to deal with Joe. Joe's got all the furniture, whether it's chairs, delivery guys. Joe was there for all the installation. If there was a furniture issue, I called Joe, right? In this case, I'm calling Doug.
But Joe was he considered a project manager for furniture too? No,
Yeah, he was
just a salesman.
WB
He was a
Mason's
salesman.
salesman, project manager, right?
I thought.
He just wasn't out shopping for
When
you.
we talked about this months ago, I thought you said there'd be something off of your contract if we went this route.
I don't know. Because I still think we're gonna be doing a lot with him. I'm your owner project manager, right? I'm gonna coordinate all the meetings, just like I sat in on the meeting with him and Lisa. I sat in with Joe and Lisa, National Business and Lisa. That's what I'm doing to coordinate furniture procurement for you. Now, you can say, we're gonna save the $8,000. We've got proposals coming in from National Business, WB Mason. We're gonna get those in, and I'm still gonna end up dealing with somebody on the low bid. I don't know whether that low bid's gonna be 120, 100 grand, and you're gonna save 20 plus 8? I don't know right now.
So I guess, does this guy become our owner project manager when we pay him $83,000 for furniture?
$8,300 for furniture.
Yeah, so why would you be involved? Because he's now our owner project.
Because he's still
Because
responsible.
he's still gonna call me.
Tony's still gonna be
He's still
responsible.
gonna have me coordinate with John.
Again,
I'm still gonna coordinate with Lisa. He's gonna call and say, where can I have lay-down room? Where can my guys drop furniture? Where can they set up boxes? And I'm gonna end up coordinating with construction. That's
But
what I
we don't
do.
need this person,
No.
because you can fulfill that role.
Yes, but
No, he can't.
There's
I
a
don't-
yes.
Not to that extent.
he's gonna say, here's the architect's plan, and he's gonna put it out to bid. And WB Mason, or I don't know who the other firm,
Right.
National Business.
National Business will say, I can meet the specs of this for $120,000.
Right,
What this guy is saying is, I am gonna take everything in this bid,
right.
and I'm gonna go to the state contract list, and you're gonna pay me 10, but I'm gonna save you 12 or 10%, and again, this is just reading this, I'm gonna save you 12%, and oh, by the way, I'm gonna get the best product for the best price that goes with this from the best vendor, because National Business may have the best chairs, but WB Mason may have the best desks. That about
Yep.
But
sums it
he'll
up.
also get involved with materials and colors and work with, would you have done that, or WB Mason have done that?
Yeah.
Doug.
That's what I did with WB. So on the PD, we had one vendor. We ended up with a proposal. Here it is, WB Mason. They came, we had a book of, here's what my stack chairs look like, here's my conference room tables. John, myself, Jay, went to their Worcester showroom. One of their interior designers had all the different colors and fabrics and laminate samples and said, this table's available in this and that. And John brought the color board, which he had brought here,
Okay, so-
right?
yeah.
And they all pick colors, and I sit there and I manage the process. Sorry, that's what I do, right?
And Chief was involved in that, right?
Yeah.
The problem,
So my question would be, why do we have to pay this guy,
we don't have to.
right? If the chief was able to make decisions about colors.
With
for the
John's
police
help,
station,
yeah.
With John's help, why can't Lisa, a trained architect, make decisions for the senior center with John's help?
She can.
Well, she will, whichever.
Why do we need this guy then?
You don't.
Well, that's what we're
You don't need
discussing.
this guy. But what this guy brings to the table is, he does furniture, and I'm not advocating for him, I'm just,
No,
he
I'm
does
trying to understand his
he
problem.
does furniture all day, every day. And when I just read this proposal, so the all day, every day thing, he's gonna have the trained eye to say, this color is gonna go best with this. I think John can do that just as well if he's doing it all day long.
Oh, Lisa.
Well, yeah, but what Lisa doesn't, Lisa is a trained architect, she's not matching furniture colors to buildings for a living.
Okay.
So that's what this guy does. So there is, I would say John probably has the ability to do the color board and match the furniture.
The expertise that this person brings to the table is the knowledge of, 30 state contracts for furniture. And if he deals with those vendors every single day, because this is what he does every single day, he can go, oh, you want stack chairs? It's vendors here's the three vendors under state contract. It's
And
gonna
he-
take me, or Lisa, or John, an ungodly amount of hours
Well, you're not gonna do it.
to
You're gonna-
figure
you're gonna
out
go to the highest bidder,
which
the
of
lowest
those
bidder.
vendors.
So he's steeped in the law, okay? I'll buy that, okay?
Yep.
Now, is he gonna document all of these decisions for us, so we know where he saved and how much he saved,
Sure.
so that we can match it against what we're paying him? And find out if we really may offer this guy?
My issue when you do something like that, if you buy from one vendor, you buy in bulk, you're gonna get your best deal. I don't care if it's chairs, I don't care if it's cars, I don't care if it's
Not
anything.
under state
Not on the
contract.
not on the state contract
They're giving
list.
us that price, we're not negotiating.
Right.
The chairs are gonna be $7 from his company.
The set prices.
And 4 from his.
Long-term, to your point, anything happens with the furniture at the PD, you pick up the phone, you
Oh,
call
the-
WB Mason.
That's my other thing.
Something
about that.
happens at the senior center, it's,
Oh, yeah, with the
whose
company.
table is this? Oh, the caster fell off the chair. I called the guy, he said he was only responsible for the tables, but not the chair. Well, my desk drawer sticks because the glide isn't working.
Yeah.
Well, that's vendor number 3 who gave us the desk, but not the tables and not the
I mean,
chairs.
That's not huge. I don't think that's a huge thing. I mean,
No.
just.
It's
to
not.
keep track.
But shouldn't he document that?
Yeah, he would.
He should.
Yeah, I mean.
It's just up to,
Contact information?
right,
Yeah.
you're gonna have all the
I
contracts.
think this was the guy from Lincoln that I.
And maybe it was.
Yeah.
To me,
Because there's somebody, one other senior center said, we use somebody like this, and then
Wellesley.
to me, I think you're spending more money than you need to on this. I don't
I do
think,
too, and I don't see anything reading in here that he guarantees it.
But it's,
It says opportunity to save in access. So there's no guarantee that he's going
That's
to
good.
be able to save us. I think we should just let it,
the
I don't think we need
reason,
'em.
the reason there's no guarantee, because what is he saving it against?
right.
He doesn't, he's gonna say, these are the prices I got you.
So,
What's he
right.
saving
so,
against?
Yeah.
And he's gonna say, well, off list price, but we're already under state
Right,
contract.
so,
who brought this forward? Where did this come from? Did Lisa talk to him? Where did this guy send his
You
proposal?
probably just sent it.
Didn't he contact you?
He called
Through
me and
Lisa?
said, are you guys doing furniture? And I put him to you and Lisa.
Yeah.
And you and Lisa met with him.
Alright.
And
So
what-
we can vote
so
not to
can we take a
accept,
vote on
right?
this?
before we do that, did anybody contact these, their referral sources to say, was it worth
No,
it?
I was leaving that to Lisa, whether she wanted to bring this forward with some endorsement or not. And I told her and him, sitting there, because she asked, what happened? How'd the police station go? And I told her the same thing. John and I went, we picked finishes and colors. It's all one vendor. Here's how it worked. Did we save money?
I think,
I don't know.
I don't know, I mean, I.
We took the lowest proposal at the time.
I think the police station needs desks and chairs. This needs
A lot more aesthetic,
couches.
yeah.
Sitting areas, the pool room with certain, I think it's different than just an office building.
Okay.
I mean, that's my thought. I mean,
I'm not prepared to endorse or not endorse this, because yeah, great, he said he could save 10%. I'd like to find out a little bit more about this company, even if it's not gonna,
When do you have to know about this?
You could probably wait till
All
November.
right, so let's do this, let's ask Lisa to get a report and talk to the vendor, to whoever this is,
Doug.
Doug, and have her follow up with these,
Yeah, because I don't know sitting here that she wants to or doesn't want to.
have her follow up with the references.
if we can truly get somebody that does this for a living, and their services are gonna save you what it's cost them, it's a no-brainer to do it.
But like Siobhan said,
Didn't we do this with the
I might be
kitchen?
able to sell you.
Didn't the kitchen guy come in, didn't we pay somebody to lay out the kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
We paid him extra money, this is how this first started, we talked
All
about
right,
that.
but I think that's to Pat's point, let's get some, get some references, and let's see if he really can do it.
Yeah,
And I want Lisa to attend the
Right,
meeting
you're right.
to discuss this topic,
yeah,
because
I agree.
she's the one
Right.
who's gonna live with it and
Right,
the group. So without her here,
right.
it's a little difficult, but I'm just buying opportunity to save. I like guarantees.
Well,
But as you said, what are they gonna guarantee?
there's nothing you can guarantee against, because
Right.
it's not like we made the purchase and he says, oh, look, I could, here's,
Right.
but
Yeah, I'm not feeling.
I like the idea of having somebody that does this all day long, every day for their, as their business. One, they're gonna get us the right product, and it's, like Chris said, it's not an office building. It's, you know, a home away from home for the seniors that go there, and if it's aesthetically pleasing, and
Right.
it costs us the same amount of money, and we got the right stuff, not that I'm sure it's gonna be great no matter what we get, but if we have somebody that's gonna give us that greater furniture for the place, and there truly is an opportunity for, even if they saved us $4,000 off of the overall cost.
And there's no way to measure its taste.
No.
So, I mean, that's a real problem too. So when Lisa calls these people that he's already worked for, right, she should inquire about that. Was the furniture tasteful? Was it accepted by all? Did it look good?
That's a good point.
But that's, to them, they might say, yeah, we love this furniture. We may walk into that same building and say,
Yeah.
we just want to know, I think we want to know overall, do you feel he helped out
Yeah.
and did more?
And saved your money.
Saved you money, do you
Yeah.
feel that? I mean,
Let's just see what they have to say.
All right.
I have a feeling I'm gonna vote no.
All right, so next one is the phone system. So we got a proposal of $13,710.
what do we budget for?
So Tony, the phones are $10.50 a piece? Is that right?
1,050?
What kind of phone system? I just put a phone system in at work, for a VoIP phone system installed for $3,000.
That's what I did too.
These are,
8 gig.
these are portable phones. They're special, heavy-duty, high-frequency portable phones, which Lisa said she needed for the senior center because just the way that they operate, there's no one really sitting at a desk at any one time. They need to have phones with them no matter which room or area that they're in.
And they just have a base or something?
They have the bases that they get charged in. Yeah.
$1,000 a piece?
That is amazing. I agree with you. We just put a phone system in too. It was under 3,000.
There's not anything less acceptable?
These were, this is actually cheaper than the other quote that we were looking at, which was from Acuity. A quote that Karen Frey had started to develop before she left, from a different vendor. And this is basically the same type of system, but purchasing it through CM Geeks or IT
Is this all
director.
wireless? There's no,
Cordless.
that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not wireless like your cell phone.
right. It's called,
base.
yeah, it's cordless.
The base station is wired, and it's a cradle, as I understand it. There's 5 phones or however many
Oh, they
in
said,
the cradle, and everybody just takes one out.
Is it a
walks
VoIP
around.
system, or is it
I have no idea.
Well, there's no backup information, it's
It's
just
a
the bill.
computer system. It's through the computer.
it's all internet, yeah.
are we sure? Just
Yes.
because, okay,
That's what, we had a phone conference with
okay.
Paul McKenzie from CM Geeks. And this was what Lisa said she needed.
So-
See, we're misunderstanding, that's not the phone, that's a computer.
What?
That's 1,050.
5 of them?
5 of them, it's computers, those are the.
8 gig by 24-inch.
8 gig, 24-inch monitor, these are computers. I don't know how it's connected to a phone.
Why is that phone
I'm
there?
looking at it here and it's a computer.
Yeah, it's got a 24-inch monitor as one of the things on it.
And it's a core, yeah, it's a.
Well,
So,
this includes the computers.
Yeah, that's not the phone itself. I don't know where.
So is this the right paper? 'Cause
So this
It
is-
says rings, one ring central
One
for
ring
1
central.
year.
That's your phone service, where I understand the voicemail is held.
So you only have 2 phones then? The two
I
fif-
think I don't have enough information
Yeah.
in front of me to
'cause
vote on
If
this.
you look at this thing, it says you only have 2 phones
Yeah.
and 5 computers?
Yeah,
I believe there'd be 5 computers.
there were 5 computers because it was, Lisa was the,
Check-in computer.
check-in computer, was one in the kitchen,
Why?
and there were 2 for the training center or the education room, whatever they call it.
All right, can we just get some more information
Why
for
would
the,
you
for
need
the
one
next
in the
meeting?
kitchen?
Because the woman who runs the meal program needs to have access through the meals provider.
Oh,
All right,
Yeah, see, so I don't know. This piece of paper really doesn't tell us.
Yeah, because this is really, you're right,
This looks like
Anita,
computers, this doesn't even look like it's phones.
so this is,
Well, he's
Central is-
providing both, phones and computers.
so where
The fact
are,
that the numbers are all in there.
where are the phones? Just the transceivers of the phones? Then?
Two?
Two transceivers? There's only,
That would make more sense if the phones are $264, not $1,050.
I know.
But you're only gonna have two?
I thought she needed,
That-
She needed
that's-
5.
Well,
Wouldn't you
why don't we
need
just
one-
table
All right,
three?
well,
that was 3.
can we put this on the next, for the next meeting so we get some correct information on it? All right,
To answer your question, Chris, you have $63,000 for phones and computers.
All right, so
You're well
if
below
if you
budget.
can guarantee that's the only thing, I'll make the motion to
However-
approve it.
However.
That was that budget was developed based off the system that Acuity was selling or recommending to the town, which is the system at the police station.
No, and I say, in this regards, if, like you say, the kitchen, I would say we do it now.
Yeah.
Put the computers,
Yeah.
if she
Oh,
needs,
absolutely.
if she needs 3 in that room,
Right.
I would say,
Right.
let's put 3 in
Because
that
it-
room to have.
it's gonna cost 10 times as much if we do it.
Right,
We'll
absolutely.
try to add it later, it's never gonna.
Forget it.
All right, so, did we do the sign yet?
No.
No.
That's next.
Let's do the sign.
I like
All right.
version 1.
So, the only question now, Lisa wants, somebody wants Lisa's name on this too, so we gotta change this again.
So if we, my recommendation is, I like the left justified on the 2 columns. Take version 1, move town administrator up a little bit to get rid of that space.
And put Lisa's name.
Council on Aging,
Well,
Director?
I'm just
Director?
curious, who's somebody? She said she doesn't want her. Who's somebody that wants it on
It
it?
was the COA board at their last meeting.
But the-
She's saying this, she's saying put the COA board only, and the COA board saying put the,
Did Lisa agree to put a name on it? Do you know?
I don't remember if there was an actual vote taken, but that was what was discussed.
So we need to find out from Lisa if she has agreed to have her name on it? Is that what we're saying? I mean,
Otherwise, otherwise, I agree with Pat, I like the first one.
so the council on aging now, they do want all their names on it.
yeah, that's,
She
You-
said
It's
they did.
interesting because they said that they were never asked, so.
She said, Lisa said they
I
didn't.
agree
want
with
their
you.
names on
I don't like the bouncing
No,
around
right.
of all the other.
Yeah,
Bill, you were there as well at that meeting.
Yeah. I agree, the justified one looks the
it.
best.
So what's that, the first one?
yeah,
the one you're looking at.
So we're gonna bring up the town administrator?
and you just put,
It's still not gonna be even with council on aging, but that's fine.
yeah,
Because it'll be more balanced.
right.
Is the Council on Aging a large body of people? Or is the Council on Aging the board?
9 people.
Board of Directors for the Council on Aging.
So in other words, when you say Council on Aging, you are assuming the board.
Yes.
That's all there is, Council on Aging.
Yeah, council on aging board, it says.
So why do we have to say board? Council and board mean the same thing, don't they?
when we say board of selectmen.
Isn't board implied in Council on Aging?
No.
I actually like that it says board.
Okay, fine.
The, all right, don't
I
shoot
got no
me.
problem with it, I just wondered.
But under the Council on Aging Board, do they have a chairman? We don't have any titles, and we have titles on everybody else's. Don't shoot me.
Janice Sash is the chair.
Well, then, I think if we're doing it on the other ones, we should do it
I
on
agree.
this one for consistency. Don't shoot me. This is number how many?
So you gotta do that, and you gotta move, town administrator up, move Anita's name up a little bit and put, COA director, and put
Right.
Lisa's underneath,
Yeah.
So just abbreviate COA.
director.
Why
Yeah.
not put, why wouldn't we put Council on Aging Director, spell it out?
Would you have enough room?
Yeah.
Wouldn't she actually
Really?
be under the board?
That'd be a lot,
Move the board up
If you move.
and have
the
her
two-
under with just,
Right,
the-
part of that committee. If you move.
if you're gonna have chair, then you can just say director.
Okay.
And if you move the Board of Selectmen and Facilities up, you can line these. If you move these up.
I'm
you
gonna
can
stay out of the
align
design of this, I
these
don't care
to
about
be
it.
straight across. I know I'm not trying to give you a hassle. If we're,
It's no hassle. It's typing. It's better to do it now than when it's on the
Part
wall.
of the design, the senior center.
right, but you could move both of these titles up,
Mm-hmm.
right? List everybody, have enough space because somebody mentioned council on aging isn't across from the town administrator, then you could move this up so they would be.
Okay,
I
Somebody
mentioned
had
that,
that.
but I didn't care, I just.
Okay,
I'm with
it
Pat.
flows better.
So council on aging board, you're gonna put director somewhere? Or you're just gonna put her name, put director after it? Is
Can do it either way.
that what you wanna do?
So the official name of the committee is Council on Aging Board on the town's website, so I guess that's what we would put.
So then you put Lisa's name as director, and then put Janice Ash as chair.
But
And
is
then list
she,
the
does she
others.
fall under the council? She's the director of the senior center. Does she, I don't think she technically is
No,
a
we're gonna
member
put
of the
her
council.
Who, Lisa?
Right, Lisa's
We're gonna put her
not,
separately over.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, separately on the other side, we're gonna
On
put
this
Lisa.
side.
so she's,
We're gonna
she's
put
actually
Lisa
not
over
COA
here.
director, she's senior center director.
Right underneath Anita's.
Yes.
okay,
But what's her title? What, is she the
director.
director?
COA director.
She's the council on aging director?
COA director.
So is she's not part of the board, just, that would be like,
No, she's not going to.
yeah, so, okay.
Separate.
But you wanna spell out council on aging director? So I don't think
I
you
don't,
could.
I don't care, John. I really,
I think it just depends
I
on
don't care.
space.
Okay. I don't think you're gonna be able to spell it out. I don't think you're gonna have enough room.
I don't either.
I
So
would-
you'll have to abbreviate. but
So we
you
want to move
also-
town administrator up, add COA director,
Yeah,
Lisa.
And you want to
Add
have.
chair to
Janice.
Janice Ash.
Yeah, nobody else has a title in that group?
No, because we're not using second titles in any of our committees, so I guess you just put the chair. We're not putting clerks and vice
Oh,
chairs and
okay,
everything,
right,
so.
okay.
all right.
Well, I have a title, I'm clerk, but I'm worthless at it, so I don't want to mention.
So
Somebody else have that?
I don't know.
so just, I mean, just
is
let's
what
make
I'm
sure
going
the
with.
official title of
I won't
Lisa,
come to the next one.
because it's under the website as senior center, and then it just says director. Is she considered the director of the senior center?
She's considered the COA director,
Council on Aging Director.
because the department's name is Council on Aging.
Yeah, I think that's what it should say.
Well, I'm just going
Council
under
on
the town's
She's-
website, and
She should probably be executive director to distinguish her from the other directors of the board, but that's no big deal.
I mean, does she take her charge from the COA board? They tell her, you know, if
For direction.
our board will tell you, you need to do
Yes.
A, B, C, and D.
Yes.
Is it the same relationship between her and the COA
Yes.
board? Okay.
So
All
that
right,
answers.
we're all set. Let's move on to, you also,
Theoretically.
everybody else set with that?
It's gonna come back out in draft for you for the next meeting.
All right,
That's the hardest thing, right?
you can't do it right now?
I want, mix the field, we are not, I thought we weren't getting involved in this.
Who put it there, I don't know.
I put it in because Patrick Inderwish had asked that this be brought back to the
Hey, what's up, Wayne?
Fisp committee.
Just looking for the quick share thing?
Yeah, it's in there, you can,
They were, as you know, you had agreed that they could seek a proposal from.
Places.
From the architect on the engineering work for upgrading Mixter Field. This is the proposal that was put in by Places through CBA, and it's in the amount of, is it It's $12,480 total, plus any reimbursables.
what was, and what's,
So originally, if you recall, Patrick Inderwish had asked that this be established as a change order through the CBA contract. There is no funding right now for this project. There's no money appropriated for this additional work. So we could, even if you wanted to move this ahead as a change order through the CBA contract, we couldn't because we have no appropriation for
we've
it.
talked over and over about this, and we said this cannot be paid for at all by me.
Correct, that's,
And I also would say, Pat, are you still on the Parks facility? Have you ever met? Okay, so, I mean, I've asked the Parks Commission members if they've ever met in regards to this. I don't know how it can even be in front of us, first of all, but then I think the board has to meet before they start getting prices on something. The board may meet, the Parks facility may say, that's not the project we want to do next.
Well, it's not,
This is before you because you had agreed that you would allow him to get pricing for this work through the CBA contract. So this is in your packet as an FYI, that that's what the quote was for $12,800.
yeah,
We allowed him
You did, you agreed to
Yeah,
allow him
at
to
previous
go-
meeting,
to go and do it, and
To
then
go
not-
talk-
we're not gonna be involved in it.
right.
right,
We said the parks, and you're gonna raise money somehow, you're
No,
gonna get
but
funding.
all they did was they gave them a price, and then they can go whatever they wanna do with it from now on.
Yeah, I
It's got
don't
Nothing to do with us.
I don't think we agreed
To bring it back to
to
us.
bring it back to us,
No,
to
we
make it a change order. We agreed to allow him to request a proposal
Correct.
from John McMillan.
The email that I believe I forwarded, John, to you from Pat Indwish, he had said that he wanted it to be put back in front of the Fisp committee, so that's what this is.
And I apologize, I don't know if I saw that or not, but it doesn't matter. I don't think, it's not something we don't have any money to work on, we can't do it anyhow. We
This is
can't.
not in the scope of the
No.
article for town meeting.
Right.
No, it's not.
And we had a meeting with the chairs of the three committees, and I think at that meeting, we also said, this is on and above the senior center, this
Correct.
is no connection, and I think we left the meeting and I said, here's what we have to do before we meet again. The Parks Facility Committee has to meet and vote, the Parks Commission has to have some input on this, and then you can go forward
Right.
and the road where you wanna go.
Okay.
So do we want to send back to Pat that we told him, bring this to the Parks Committee and the Parks Commission, and that we can't,
Parks Facility.
this is outside of the scope of this article and it can't be paid for?
Okay.
We need,
I don't think we need a motion, we just do,
I'll just say,
Send an email.
Just say that there's no action to be taken by Fisp on this, that it's up to the Parks Commission and Parks Facilities Commission to decide what they want to do with it.
But I think we also need to say it's out of the realm of what was appropriated at town meeting.
Okay.
Please.
all right, now we have change order number 4, $84,936. Is that in here? That was separate?
separate piece of paper floating around.
Oh, this is-
looks like this, it's
Just
right here.
going back to,
It's right here. Everybody have the AAI document?
Bill, do you have yours?
Thank you.
G 701 stroke 2017 stroke.
So if everybody can read, they had some, deductions, not much, and a lot of ads. The biggest one was the 57,000 for the, ledge and hammering to get all the, for the drainage and the, all the systems in place.
Exterior
Water,
cameras
electrical.
were $14,000?
Yes, and if I can add to the ledge, that was if we kept the routing the way it was originally designed, the hammering was expected to be $80,000, which is why we went through a redesign back through the planning board for 2 cycles, re-engineered that, so the actual savings was somewhere $22,000 to $23,000.
I like the way you do that. We spent 57, but you're saying, look, you saved 23. It's-
You sent us back to
I know,
redesign.
I know.
Okay?
And, Chris, to your point, Tony,
Exterior cameras, what's that, like 20?
he's gotta explain that to you.
Oh, okay.
No, the exterior cameras were not included in any of the packages. We actually went out and solicited, because we had pricing from RAC through the subcontractor, which was higher than that. We reduced, changed the scope a little bit. We went back out, we were able to go to this vendor and say, look, we're gonna pull all the cameras, the interiors, which were in the original bid, plus the exterior cameras that we now want. We're gonna pull them all out of your package, and we rebid them through state contract for security contractors. Went back to this guy and said, lower your price, or else we're going outside, and he did.
I don't understand now. You pulled it, so, I mean, what do you
So
mean? Is
original-
he doing everything now?
In his original price, he owned the interior
Okay,
cameras.
so is that included there?
Well,
That's the
no,
base bid.
because we just left them back in his bid. We never formally pulled them out, because the credit to remove them was so small. But then when we went and bid them outside of RAC's contract, and I went to him with alternate pricing and said, apples to apples, buddy. You're either gonna pull all your work, or you're gonna do this for the reasonable price. This is that reasonable price.
So how much were the interior cameras? How much did those cost? And how many do we have?
We have 6. Those were somewhere in the magnitude of $12,000. And his credit offered for that was $3,000, somewhere around there.
So about 9,000 for the interior.
No, if we pulled the work from them,
If he didn't do anything, he'd give you back 3.
No, I'm saying, so
So you'd
12,000 is
lose.
the price for the interior?
That was what the other contractors gave us for interior pricing. We don't know what his price was because it was in the base bid. But we know it was more than $3,000. Because that has the head-end system and the components that the other cameras all tie into.
so if you have a change order that's a give back, they just get to randomly make up a number as to what the credit is?
Nice being public bid, huh?
I mean, that's essentially,
You get, yeah, you can ask them for backup and you ask them for their supplier's quotes, but a lot of times they just don't offer up that information. You gotta dig for it. You gotta find other ways to get to the number, to make the number make sense. And then they are not obligated to give you back profit or anything else that they're considered losing. So he's saying, my raw cost back to you is $3,000. So the way of doing that is to go out and get alternate pricing and say, really? I know how much the camera system costs. It's $6,000 for the equipment, because we know what that equipment is. And you'll hear John sometimes say, oh, we went on Google, or we went on, whatever it is that you order stuff, Amazon or whatever. We do a lot of that on a daily basis to try to negotiate better pricing.
So there's no way in the contract to know what the cameras are just costing?
No. Because in a public bid, you open a big number.
It doesn't
And you
break it
open,
down. It
when
doesn't
we
break
open
it
all the
down.
electricians' numbers, there's no breakdowns. It's, electrical is $350,000.
So, okay,
Okay.
since we don't know that, how many cameras is this?
This is 6 exterior cameras,
all hardwired.
all wired back to the head-end system.
And he does all that for the 14,000?
And the programming and other stuff that goes along with it.
Is there a yearly cost for maintenance?
No.
Okay.
That seems very high.
It's, it's not the Home Depot camera. These are all based on the same system
I know.
at the PD.
Yeah.
So we're using systems that hopefully the town knows can maintain, repair,
And will the police be able to sign into, will dispatch be able to sign into
No.
that system?
No.
There's no way for them to get into it.
That was not a requirement when we met with the police. It's strictly digital record for after the incident. There's no live monitoring. You can add equipment later to get that signal outside. You've got incoming
So can the
cable.
director, for instance, if she's off-site?
No.
Sign
Not
in?
as it's currently designed. It's strictly in the building system, records, loops. She'll get to decide loop it every 7 days, 14 days, whatever the storage drive can handle, it will re-loop. The idea is somebody breaks windows, something happens, you've got it on camera for a certain period of time. But when we met with the police chief, fire chief, talked about, driving around the building, security, back doors where the cameras would go, excuse me, there was no requirement to have this signal be picked up at dispatch or in Holden at the rec center. Now you can, because it's all going back to a head end
Right.
anyways, and we've got cable and fiber coming into the building, so it's a matter of a couple pieces of equipment if you wanted to add that later and you felt that was necessary.
Is that something that if
So
we
you do have an alarm in the building. If somebody goes and breaks in, an alarm's gonna go off, but it's not like it's automatically gonna capture the picture and send it to dispatch.
If we decided to do this later, is this one of those things that whether we do it now or do it later, there's no difference in price because it's just,
Yeah, it's all hardware in the communication room.
Yep.
And it all goes back to the same security communication closet. So it's add a piece of equipment in the rack, get your jumpers tied in, and figure out how it's gonna work.
Is the curbing, was that added, the granite curbing on 10.5?
So if
Is that
you
what design
recall
changed?
the loop around the flagpole area, we had all new granite curbing in the new parking lot. We had remove and replace down to Prescott Street in the add alternate. And what that left out was both sides of the loop. So they both just arbitrarily ended at some odd point. We had a heck of a time negotiating the road and the driveway and the milled versus the new and pulling of that granite. And so now it works out, everything's gonna be new, or not new, but pulled, reset, cleaned, and or brand new, except for the 2 lanes, the inside and the outside around the loop. Just was missed on the drawings.
Okay.
So rather than not having it all tied in, freshly reset, cleaned, and jointed, that's the price for the granite curbing. And that started off at some $27,000 and ended up down at 10.5, so.
Okay.
All right, so anybody have any, we have a motion first? Change order number
I'll
4.
make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, police station, final closeout items.
I've heard that
Now, this is an issue that doesn't, the planning board wants an as-built for the new fence we put up, but the new fence is on the neighbor's property, it's not on the town's property. It's got nothing to do with the town. The whole, Chris, what, 3 properties or 2, Chris?
Right, I think.
3,
3?
Right, right.
I believe it's.
It wasn't anything to do with the town. The town paid for it, but it's not on their property, so, McMillan, he can't do an as-built on something that's not part of the property he built. So it makes no sense.
So what do we do?
We,
Request the certificate of completion.
Yes. I agree. I think we should ask him for
Yeah.
that. And send him a note, explain to him what's going on with the neighbor.
Is the planning board aware that the fences are not on our property?
it should be.
They should have been, because we made it pretty clear to them.
Yeah, they should, yes.
So we just sent him a note and didn't ask him for a
I mean,
certificate of completion.
they are talking about that fence, and there's not something on the plan that, like, the extra fence we added around we added that extra fence around the impound yard. Is that on that plan? Maybe that's the fence.
That is on the plan.
The extra.
All of our fences and all of our as-bills were
The metal
cut.
fence and then the other fences.
Yep.
Maybe I'm just wondering if that's what he's asking.
Nope.
No.
So it's just the sections that provide the blocked view.
Privacy for the neighbor.
As I understand it, the requirement of those privacy fence, because at one point we talked about whether it was gonna fence the whole thing at the property line, does it go up on their property? I believe it was in their requirements as the order of conditions to provide fencing for those properties. And I think that's what they're hanging.
It shouldn't be
their
on the
hat on.
as-built, right?
No,
It's
it
not.
can't be on the as-built.
It's not part of the property.
Not part of the property, can't be on the as-built.
Okay, so.
So we got
it says,
set,
and request to issue certificate of completion.
So we're gonna
Who do we
ask-
request that to?
we're gonna ask the planning board to issue a certificate of compliance, or, completion. Compliance? Compliance is the planning board, right?
It says
Completion is the building
certificate of
inspector.
completion.
Certificate of completion is the term that Vin Vignali used.
Used in his
Is that from the building inspector, though?
Is that
That's
from the planning
certificate of
board?
What he
occupancy.
says is that he
Right now,
doesn't,
you only have a temp.
He said he doesn't have.
he's request to issue a recommendation to the building inspector to issue a certificate of completion. So it sounds as though what Ben is saying is that it's the planning board that requests the building inspector issue the certificate of completion.
Okay, so let's send him a note and ask him if he can do that, explain the situation, if there's any issues, be happy to talk about it.
Want a motion?
Yes, please.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's the other one. Carol and Bennett Associates, we have,
We got nothing all the way down to,
do you have invoices?
it doesn't say any dollar amount, so I'm just guessing we always put them on.
But on what I received, I did not add in the late RAC invoice.
Oh, yeah, how about,
Carol and Bennett, do we have one?
I don't have a CDA invoice, I don't have a Collier's invoice.
okay. Okay, so just RAC is what? How much?
761, 863.
Please.
Second.
I don't see the figure. Where'd you pull that?
Oh,
Oh, that's a separate one.
okay.
That's fine.
All right. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Great motion, I just said a number.
All right,
$761,863.
863.
right. Alliance Environmental Group for, number 60227867 for $2,425.40. That's for,
That's for
environmental.
testing, it was the, shall we call it aggregate testing to prove that our arsenic wasn't dissimilar in the building footprint from the areas outside and around the building.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yankee Engineering invoice number 25343 for $795. Again, this is from more environmental testing.
So
Right.
move.
No, Yankee is
Yeah.
construction
Construction,
testing,
I'm sorry.
grading compaction, soil compaction, concrete cylinders,
Okay.
and soon to be pavement.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
West Boylston Police Department invoice dated 9/29/18 for $912 for the detail for when they went into the street to connect the, water.
Water
So move.
to gas.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Updates, Phil, you had some?
You all heard about the 10,000 that's coming from Thomas Bartholomew to the COA.
Just did.
He's made good on his pledge to them about 6 months ago. Also, Sabas has felt it necessary to withdraw his $5,000 that was going to be applied towards the billiard tables. So, I don't know what's going on with that, because I was having lunch there and talked to them a little bit about it. And he said that he was going to give them a table which his brother owned, which was almost new, but that doesn't seem to have come through anyway, either. So Janice sent an email out today, Janice Ash, saying that that had happened. And I submitted last meeting some suggestions for them to consider. I checked it out with John before I did. Mainly, that they should think about a strategic planning committee. We are concerned that we see some movement towards the kind of things that are programming that's going to be introduced at the opening of the center when it happens, a nominating committee, a budget committee, a development committee, which would be in charge of fundraising and liaison with the Friends. And hopefully some of that will begin to come forward. I don't know, but I'll sort of stay on it and sort of keep hopefully gently pushing. Because I know there are some people on the COA who'd like to see that more organization, a more proactive board develop. So that's the liaison report.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'm just, in regards to fundraising, I know we told people when we went for the road shows that there would be some fundraising, there would be events going on, so is it What's the fact? Is the fact
Well,
that
I
they're not-
included that stipulation in the document that I gave them, that we had made these promises to the town meeting when we asked for approval for the building. So that's included there. The COA, 2 meetings ago, voted not to raise money from West Boylston sources indefinitely.
Okay, so that's, I guess
Now-
I mean, all the other information you gave is good information, but I really don't think it has anything to do with the building committee for future reference. All really, that we have a, you know, all about that organization of the COA and what they do after the fact, I think it's not at all in our,
Had they not agreed to do the fundraising? I thought they came to us and said they would do fundraising,
Well,
and that's why we put it out there.
They're seeking foundation source.
Yeah,
fundraising,
foundation grants and things like that.
But they don't want, from what I understand.
Yes?
They don't want to seek donations from residents at this point. They'd rather start with the foundation fundraising efforts. And then when they have something specific at a later date, they would seek donations from residents.
So we're talking foundation fundraising. The senior center is going to be done in 4 months.
Yeah.
If I'm a foundation and somebody comes to me and says, hey, we just built a senior center, will you give us money for a senior center? I'm going to laugh.
Understand now that Tom Bartholomew, when I met with him, suggested this, and as I met with people, it seemed to be the way should go, and that is that any money that was going to be raised, either locally or by grants from foundations and corporations, was not going to be money that would be applied against the building and reducing the bond amount. Tom suggested, and others, was not a wise way to go, because we're borrowing at significantly lower rates than, that we could otherwise do. So the grant funding, the foundation funding, and any local funding would be money that the COA could use for programming, purchase of equipment that they needed for specific programming, and things like that. Keep in mind also that money is going to be nominal at best. We're not talking about millions here. We're talking about 30, 40, 50,000, maximum $100,000 over a 2 or 3 year period, something like that.
Which is great, but is not what we said during the road shows. During the road shows, we said, and I'm not throwing darts at you, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
during the road show, we said, there will be a fundraising effort to help defray the cost of this building, and that
I
doesn't.
never said those words,
Um,
defray the cost of the building. Never.
anybody?
I think we did. It was said.
I'm not saying you said it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, this, as a committee,
Yep.
I believe we told the town, and I know Chris jumped up there every time and said, you can't count on that, we're voting, we're asking you for this money. There are efforts at hand.
So with this 10,000, for instance, that's coming in, why doesn't that pay for the furniture outside the building?
What, could?
Yeah, so why,
I
so
certainly could.
that should be on and above. That's something that wasn't in the original plan.
Yeah.
Let's say we want some benches outside. Maybe, I don't know, they have donations and something like that in memory of.
And the
A
friends,
brick walkway, maybe.
yeah, and the
as
friends, as I
building's being
understand
built.
it, are going to sell the bricks kind of thing.
So
They're
is
going
that-
to do that.
is
They're going to
that-
continue there.
It's not in my budget.
No, does someone know that may happen? Before they finish the whole walkway outside?
No?
No, so it's.
There is the matter also of the Cogswell situation. Is my understanding is that Coughlin said he wanted to do something, right? And I have been pushing the COA to make that grant proposal, and I have yet to see anything. I have begun working on it and withdrew after they said they were going to raise
I
money.
guess the COA is the COA, but I mean, when they're going out and asking these people, what are they saying? We want some money for our new senior center to maybe next year have somebody come and do an aerobics class. Is that, I don't know, is that how they're selling it, or are they saying, we're building a new senior center, we're looking for donations?
I don't know how
Yeah,
that's.
so
The
I mean,
original letters that were developed by the volunteer grant writer who was helping them was a much more general request for funds to help offset the cost of operating the senior center. It didn't specify what they might be using the money for.
so us as a town, they send that letter out to offset the operations.
I'm not sure they've sent them out yet. That's-
Okay, but if they do, what if they never vote to turn money over? What if they only say, we're gonna pay $250 to the aerobics person, or we're gonna pay $175 to have someone do a computer class? And it never really helps offset the operations.
I do know that for, at least for Tom Bartholomew, the COA is planning to invite him into a meeting to discuss potential, what his vision is of using his.
I had not heard that, but it would be very wise if they did that.
Like, they haven't put out there if anybody wants to name a room or give $100, and a lot of people.
No, that has not
That's
been
They haven't even
publicized.
approached that yet.
No.
So anybody who, if they're talking about buying a brick, they haven't even set
This-
that up.
This is one
For
of the things that I said, I suggested about the cosmetics grant, that it be multi-tiered so that he could choose which one he thought was best. If you want to have the medical center, what is it, the wellness center, named after cosmetics, it would be $100,000, right? If you only want to fund all the medical-related programs, it would be $30,000 or whatever.
They're not doing that.
Huh?
They're not doing it.
Don't know if they're not doing that. I was going to do that. I had begun work with Jane Ryan on that, and Lisa sort of took it over at that meeting about 2 meetings ago.
Because I know Holden, you could buy a room or support, and your name would be.
And did they sell any rooms?
Yes.
They did.
So what happens to the $100,000? What would happen to it?
That would have to go to offset the budget.
Yeah,
That would have to.
I would think so.
In the
If
short term,
if someone said, we want to be the medical person, that
Yeah.
would have to go to the, offset the budget.
Well, if he wanted the wellness room named after cosmetics, then that wellness room, right, portion would be paid for, that's right. And we don't go to bond till when, after the bond, the building's completed, so we could
So in
reduce the
regards to
bond.
the
Even
sub-
though we're not, even though they are not directly raising money to offset the cost of the building, right, that indirectly would be so.
So if, for instance, if the outside furniture was never in any of our plans, right? The outside furniture he's talking about.
Correct.
So that should be something the fundraising does.
That's right.
Or the council on aging pays
Right.
for, if
but,
that's something.
so-
I agree, but,
You wanna buy cheap quarters.
what we should do is, we're gonna have a bulk purchase of furniture. If Tom says his 10,000 is gonna go to that furniture, and Steve's 15 or 30, whatever the number was, he says, yeah, I'll buy the pool tables. We need to coordinate, Lisa needs to coordinate with the Council on Aging, we need to coordinate with Steve and with Tony to say, okay, yes, we have this number of dollars in the budget for furniture, you have another 40 that's earmarked for that, so that we don't use this budget and they say, oh, I'll pay for the furniture, well, it's already paid for, so
And I
now.
think all Tony should move forward with is what's in the original contract. If they want to buy furniture for outside, it's going off the state bid list, so we're not gonna get a better price anyway, she can.
But
order it
he
later.
But to his point, in working with Bob Chisholm, he solicited pricing from half a dozen pool table vendors from Rhode Island through Waltham, all over. I've given all that information to Anita. He's got the pool tables, the chairs, the sticks, the racks on the wall, the whole bit, other than the game card tables. The light fixtures over it,
Yeah.
right? I don't know who's buying those. If somebody outside of this budget is buying those, we took that number and plugged it in and said, okay,
Part of this budget.
it's coming out of this budget unless you go buy
But it
funds,
doesn't have
get
to, that's
some
what I'm
funds
saying, there's
elsewhere.
money
I
that,
think the COA made it clear they're not gonna give us any money to offset the cost of the budget. So if they want furniture around the outside, it's outside of the budget. If they want some special tables in the art room, they're not in the thing, that's outside of the budget. They can go to the state bid list, they can do what they want down the road. The state.
Well, I don't know that the COA made that clear. They said they're not gonna solicit funds for the construction of the building. If they solicit funds for, Savas said he was gonna buy a pool table. That would come right off of the budget, because Savas could say, I bought that pool table.
But that's, he just said he's not
Well,
doing.
it got pulled.
So it's-
If Tom turns around and says, I want the $10,000 that I'm gonna donate to go to the outside furniture, that's not in the budget, there's no reason why we can't buy that furniture as part of the whole process when we're buying the
We
furniture.
could, but we don't have to, but whatever, whatever.
I just think it would make sense if there's this extra money that's out there that we know is earmarked for the senior center, especially Steve Migradishian's money, that,
Well, that's not, that money's coming to the town, not to the COA, correct?
I have to look up the details of what we
So
put
that we
into
can.
we know that there's other, all I'm getting at is, we know that there's other funds that are out there. If people are donating now, there's no reason why we can't say, okay, you bought this pool table. As long as the COA agrees, that's
And the
$5,000.
donor agrees.
Hmm?
And
And the donor agrees.
Okay, I mean, I agree, let's stop. But we need Tony to move forward.
Right.
Absolutely.
This, we've been talking about this for 3 years. Tony needs to just move forward and buy everything in the contract and not wait every week to see if someone may do it.
I agree
We can't,
completely.
and that's why I'm saying, don't wait for the furniture outside, just move forward and get the project done. We're not gonna wait and wait and wait.
I'm not suggesting that way. What I'm
That's
suggesting
all.
is that when we're doing the budgeting, we may be telling Tony, take 30,
So I would just.
all I was talking about was the budgeting piece,
Yeah.
not the
But
not the
Tony
project
should just move
itself.
forward, everything in the contract, purchase it, get prices for it, put it in the building,
I need 2 lights, one over each pool table.
then buy it. I know we were talking about donating, but that's all over now.
All right.
So we just have to purchase it. And I think there was cheap money to it.
Anybody else have anything? Updates? All right, next meeting, November 14th,
I'll be gone.
second Wednesday.
I'll be south.
Good for you.
Did you say 14?
Yeah. All right. A motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Gotta change the Brita filter on November 14th.
Oh, you already got that in the phone?